What if the last person seen with her was the one closest to the truth? A quiet street in Arkansas. Madison Blake steps out for what looks like a normal start to her day. Nothing around her suggests danger, just routine, movement, and morning calm. There are no alarms, no chaos. Only a journey that should have ended the same way it always did. But she never returned. Morning light across a residential road. Madison walks with steady pace, familiar with her route. A brief hesitation appears before she continues forward. She wasn't rushing. She wasn't in distress. So why did her last message feel incomplete? Late morning. Madison Blake lived a structured, predictable life. Reliable, consistent, always in touch. That morning, something felt slightly different, but no one could explain why. She was last seen near a usual stop in town. A familiar figure, Whitaker, was later linked to her movements that morning. Nothing appeared unusual at the time. By midday, contact stopped. Calls went unanswered. Her whereabouts became unclear. Detective Carla Monroe begins reviewing the timeline. Everything appears too orderly at first glance. But small inconsistencies begin to appear. Jared Collins recalls a brief roadside stop. Not unusual at first memory, but later he describes it differently. Nina Parks notes a short draft message that was never sent. It disappears before anyone reads it. No explanation remains. Family accounts differ slightly on her mood that morning. Some say normal. Others say distracted. Whitaker's timeline near that time does not fully match his explanation. Nothing extreme, just small gaps that raise concern. A roadside camera shows Madison's last confirmed movement. The frame cuts shortly after. And then, nothing further is confirmed. What happened after the last confirmed sighting? Madison is now missing. The day continues, but without her. Carla Monroe rechecks early footage. Whitaker remains one of the last confirmed people near her route. His presence becomes part of the timeline investigators return to repeatedly. Family confirms she left home normally. No signs of preparation or warning. Just a routine morning. A witness recalls a small delay at a nearby stop. Something that didn't seem important at the time. A brief signal point is later noted after her last known location. It does not confirm direction, only that something still moved after she disappeared from sight. Statements begin to differ slightly under review. Not dramatic contradictions, just small inconsistencies. A request is made to review roadside footage again, but the next sequence is incomplete. Why does the recording not show the full moment? A roadside camera review begins, but the critical segment is incomplete. A short interruption appears in the footage. When it resumes, Madison is no longer visible. Family struggles with unanswered timing gaps. Not dramatic, just missing clarity. A second vehicle is later mentioned by a witness. Not fully confirmed, but repeatedly recalled. Multiple data points suggest movement near the same time window. Nothing directly proves interaction, only overlap. A silent reaction from the family reflects confusion, not certainty. What does the recovered recording actually show? Partial recording is reviewed. It is unclear and fragmented. One voice is identified during playback, Whitaker. Tone is calm, context unclear. Family reacts emotionally to hearing it. Not because it reveals everything, but because it feels familiar in an unsettling way. The recording is traced to a nearby business device. Captures only fragments of a moment. Witness memory is adjusted after hearing it. Details shift slightly under review. Why do witnesses describe the same moment differently? Timeline reconstruction begins. But the same time window produces conflicting accounts. Different witnesses describe slightly different versions of the same moment. Nothing matches perfectly. One gap in time remains unverified across all sources. That gap becomes the focus of the investigation. A minor directional change is noted in her last movement path. Not clear, but present in records. Emotional pressure builds within the family due to lack of clarity. Why does one part of the timeline still not align? Reconstructed visuals are reviewed. They show movement patterns in the same time window. Two figures appear briefly within proximity range of the last known location. One is consistent with Evan Whitaker's recorded presence. Witness memory is adjusted again after viewing the reconstruction. Data alignment suggests overlap in timing, but not complete clarity. Family begins to express emotional acceptance of uncertainty. What does the full timeline actually show? All available records are combined into one final reconstruction. The timeline now appears complete, including previously missing moments. One consistent presence appears across overlapping points in the sequence. Investigators focus on aligning final inconsistencies. Family expresses emotional closure rather than unanswered questioning. The focus shifts from confusion to acceptance of findings. The investigation concludes based on reconstructed evidence patterns. Not every detail is recoverable, but the sequence is now understood. Madison Blake's case moves from uncertainty to conclusion. The emotional impact remains with those closest to her. Justice is acknowledged through the reconstructed truth. Subscribe to the Veil of Secret for more grounded true crime investigations that focus on real human behavior, timelines, and unanswered questions.